This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
It's the Dirty Laundry Game-Worn Hockey Podcast.
We're old school, right? We wash our own dirty laundry.
The name on the front is a hell of a lot more important than the one on the back.
I refuse to be judged by a grown man wearing a hockey jersey.
Game on!
Game on!
Yeah, they're usually just have the zoomies and making noise, but
Yeah. Well, and this is the first time I've ever done the show with pants on.
well, everybody's seeing your robe now, so thanks to that lovely bit from the Thursday night recording.
Yeah.
But yes, it is a couple hours to go yet. We're not even to 10 people yet.
Yeah, it's not hot. Last year it was hot. Yeah, we had fans, all kinds of craziness going on. So thank God we caught a little better weather and just hanging out, shooting the breeze, and getting ready to run like madman through the show.
The Blues did drop their video, so we dissected that again, which were like Disapprover film, and it was funny because they only put it, or at least that I could find it, on the YouTube stories. So I actually had to turn my screen recorder on my phone, record the video, and then slow it down. So the four of us that were here when they dropped it were picking it apart and counting sticks and seeing what prices we could see and all that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of fun to again pick it up. But at least now we had plenty of time to keep looking at it. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do crap.
It seems that there's a lot of stuff this year. I know there's a lot more gloves, a lot more certain things, whereas when we had those last couple of years, it seemed like some of that was a little thinner. So excited to see. There's piles and piles of gloves. It looked like the sticks were pretty strong. So excited to see the records in there and what we can get our hands on and run out of here.
Yeah. We have a line of people in folding chairs because you do want to be comfortable, especially being here for a while. We've got everybody brought coolers, snacks, and other things because you got to be prepared for being in line.
Yeah, especially if you're planning on being here for a number of hours.
And I think this is the first ever, and I don't want it to be the last one. We'll see if we can get other people to do it for us, or we may travel. Is the first podcast while in line? Yeah, the first in-line podcast. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of fun. Definitely appreciate you getting here early. Sorry I was running late.
I got here way earlier than
Well, we didn't need to be, but I was off work, so what the hell did it matter?
Earlier. Yeah, so it's going to be a fun day. I'm excited to see us get started on this. And the best part is the last couple hours give all over, people start showing up, conversation picks up, and that's fun. So,
and people that know we always get in line early send us messages. Hey, look out for this. I have a friend I play hockey with. He's currently in the Bahamas, messaging me, going, "Hey, do you see anything yet?" Just that in the video. So I'm trying to confirm what form gloves he wants. Although keeps asking for sticks, and most of the people that are asking are players that need stuff. So it's not even, doesn't have to be a game use stuff. And the Blues have released a bunch, or put out pictures of a bunch of brand new sticks in that. We do have one of our past guests hanging out with us as well, Matt Heath, who we had on, what's it been, 2-3 years ago.
It was the first year the 80s Expo that Leia put on.
Yeah, with Dog Nation. So he's hanging out with us. He's a collector as well for both. Now, do you go more for playing or for collecting, or both?
It really depends on what I need at the time. Right now, it's mainly for playing. So, in-person sticks. Obviously, I saw some nice Bennington sticks and aesthetic tube holders in that video.
And they'll definitely be cheaper than what you'll buy. Absolutely. So you said you're down to what, one of your previous Bennington sticks? You need
to replace. I originally had about 4 or 5 Bennington CCM sticks, which I absolutely love. It was from the 19 year that they had used. I have one left. I'm going to try out his True Sticks. I'm going to get a handful of those. Looks like they have some white ones and some blue ones in there. So.
And if anybody out there that has ties to other team that are full right goalies that use some sticks, I definitely want to try one. Just finding one is very difficult. So, but yeah, you got here just after I did, so we've been playing catch up and just telling stories about past sales or other things. So it's just fun. It's fun to hang out and say it's the entrance to the parking garage to one of the building entrances. The weather's perfect, other than when them digging up the concrete. It's been enjoyable. It's richer. What's that? Yes. But it is. It's cool to be able to do this, and with the shrunken down technology, I have been able to drag it out and do stuff like this. And of course, we're getting funny looks from other people in mine. But you know what? That's part of what makes this fun. So, and Wade got funny looks when he walked in just because. Well, I mean, it's Wade, of course. Right? It is what it is. So, I hope you are able to get everything that you want. And I mean, we're right at 2 hours. The countdown's been on for a while.
That's like I said, it all really depends on what I need or what I need to get. Like I said, obviously some sticks. From what we saw in the video, there was about 11 catchers. I know this is crazy a lot. One of them I know is a Sorenko because it has the specialty of the Blue Note logo built into the cover. His design for all these CCM one, I know for a fact I saw that one right away. There is one of the dark blue Bennington catchers. And then the other ones are all true catchers, but I don't know the difference between the Bennington and the Oprah ones because they're very similar styles. You know, it's kind of hard for me to pick those ones out.
And that video was what, 20 seconds maybe?
And it was like at 8 times speed too. So you're really slowed down. I kind of pick it up.
So when we pulled it down and then we went into one of our video players where you either put it at like an 8 speed and then some you could, or one of the guys was doing it in edit mode. So go every single frame.
Pretty much every frame. So I was able to pick some stuff out that it definitely has a ton of player gloves. I think I saw 2 or 3 tables of those. Like I said, about 11 bully catchers, a couple blockers I saw only on the table here. So didn't see any pads in the video, but I'm sure they're there somewhere.
And I mean, just when they ran through the number of skates and gloves, all kinds of skates, so it looks like they're all true skates too. It'll be in Modizzo. One of the things I want to pick up is a pair of Winter Classic socks and see too, compare those, the Fanatics ones to the Adidas and see how much difference is on in them. So that'll be interesting to tell. It's only sad that I can't like attach this to me and Mike can talk to people as we're running through, but I need both. So. Well, thank you for joining us for a little bit. But it's just been fun to hang out.
Yeah, man, it's been fun hanging out. I haven't seen you in a while. The last time I think I saw you, we did a fantasy camp together a couple of years ago.
Yes. You played great. I didn't play too bad. But,
I'm sure you guys have seen it. There's an iconic photo that he took of him and Brad Boys walking down the back aisle together at Centees.
The Boys in Noise line, and listening to Jabal Mayer say, okay, if you stand between this space here, I will give you the puck and the goal. Sure as hell, he did. And then yell at me that I didn't have more. Oh, but yeah, that's so much fun to do those fantasy camps. Matter of fact, we were talking about the Detroit one, and I know Derek Whitaker's done a few of those. If you get a chance to do them wherever you are, do it. Because it's just cool hanging around those guys, and we have extra stories from late nights in the alumni room and stuff like that. But it's cool that it's apples ops,
right? To connect those players that we watched growing up or we've just seen so many times. They're just really cool people to hang out with, and we tell some great stories.
Yes, the crazy ones, especially the older alumni, listening to what the equipment used to be and all that tech stuff, and just how different all that.
Some of the best stories, and anybody will agree with me, was always from Bob Play. Yes, he always had the best stories. But it's also tells good stories is Cam Jancy. So he's a story for everything. So if you guys ever get a chance to get a minute with Cam, make sure you talk to him, and he'll definitely tell you some funny shit that probably shouldn't be told.
And some of the stories Bobby told, it was, okay, should we hear these or not? And then, yes, but they'll eat it. Right. But even the year that we played together, I got to ride the bus with Unger and talk about some of his stuff. Hey, it's cool to hear and see if any of those guys even own any of their equipment still or some of that stuff, or if they have any of these from way back.
You'd be surprised because a lot of them actually don't. There's a handful of them. I know a couple of guys. I can't remember who it was, but they do have their own jerseys, but it's from every team they play with. But they don't put their name facing out. They put the team logo facing out.
No, and I think that's fun. I wish we could get a better list of what players, either current or past around here, collect their stuff to kind of see. And as Wade gets them into the expos, he's asked them too. But I know, let's say we announced already on the podcast and talking to you earlier, Mike McKenna will join us on the Sunday of the St. Louis Expo, and that'll be one of the things we'll interview him on. I'll have a big display of most of what he either has copies of.
So you've helped him acquire quite a few of his jerseys.
And he has several that I now wish. I know those other ones exist, but I don't.
I'm still missing the Vancouver one.
So yeah, says that one. We know it's in a collection. The person's not on social media, but he will not give enough for any of them. And Mike's tried to make offers and for things, and it's gone. No,
that's too bad. I mean, with you talking about McKenna, obviously we were talking earlier about at Belfour, the whiskey, and at McKenna's new liquor store.
Yeah, Macadoodles down here. So if I wasn't going to be so late with the sale, I'd actually probably swing by after we were done here, make up a bottle to take home.
So had you had a chance to talk about the Belfour whiskey night yet on your podcast?
Yep. We had talked about in there, and I brought back a side bottle, so I kind of gave the rundown of things and did some pictures. But I'm hoping Mike will get him back down. I actually want to have Mike on, not just at the expo, but get him on a future podcast when we get into goalie collecting as a whole and some of those.
So I know you went down and get the signed bottle and stuff, but did you have a chance to talk to Eddie?
Yeah, real quick, because there was, my God,
so we're crazy busy, right?
I bet there was 400 or 500 people total. They ran out of bottles by, I think, 7 o'clock. I was 40th some in line, and when we hit the door to leave, it was wrapped around our building. And the turnout was awesome, and Belfour actually said afterwards that it was the biggest one he ever done. They actually were taking orders for bottles for him to sign and send back to people that didn't get those. But no, it was super cool. I asked him when I walked up to him, how's it feel being in enemy territory? He said, I'm loving he was just super nice, and I had actually got a Blackhawks picture from one Cody Kipling, collectors, and had some extra later on, so he made one up for me, and he said that was one of his favorite pictures. So he was just super personable, very nice. I mean, it was a quick interaction. He didn't give you a lot of time to. He's so gracious.
So like a player like him, though, you think it's got to be a lot of fun, especially you said in enemy territory. But he's one of those guys like a Patrick Waugh or Dominic Hasek, player like that. That doesn't matter what team you play on. You love like Marc-Andre Fleury. It doesn't matter. You can play for anybody. I don't care. He's still, a great player, and he was entertaining to watch.
Yeah, and the other side of it too is you realize what kind of, even though you may have hated him at the time, what a great player he was, and see the cups he won and other things and just loving it. And somebody like you and I both were all also big gear people, is see with his masks and the kind of gear he wore. I mean, it's just
missed his aggressiveness because he would always give somebody a nice blocker to the back or a slash. He wasn't afraid to mix it up with anybody.
There's not much of that. Not really a amount of that happens anymore. Right? And I bet
you see most of that from Bennington now.
Or runs. Yeah, I wanted to just fight too, but yeah, it's neat. Anytime we get to interview either Blues alumni or older players in general, especially when there's been a transition of play, a transition of equipment. Even go back to talking to Mike. When Mike was with the Devils organization, he was called up at one point, and of course Brodeur was still with the team at the time. He was out, that's why he got called up. But Brodeur was in the locker room looking at Mike's equipment because Mike was always on the cutting edge of goalie pads and all that stuff. And Brodeur still did the old ways, so he was asking Mike.
But here in St. Louis, his gear was still pretty retro.
Yeah, but he was asking Mike about, okay, well, what about this? How does this feel? And he said, Mike said it was just so cool to have such, you already knew was going to be a Hall of Famer, and who was so particular with his gear, asking Mike about his because of the age difference. And we did that, one of the alumni events that we hosted in Springfield. I brought a pair of Mike's ads from when he played was the Springfield Cena Blues, and it's the Bauer, the big pillowy flat pads. And then I had his very last set with Philly. So comparing the two just in weight and build and things like that.
Right, which the newer pad was probably more of a flat pad, light weight. The foam, was probably semi-stiff compared to what he originally played with.
Yeah, that was the cutting edge Bauers in 2000, but comparing them to 2017, 2018 pads, it's just drastically different. And how you're stopping the puck, and even, I mean, you and I both play goalie, how you drop. And that early when I started, I was using those types of pads, and And now I need lighter, faster, stronger because I'm fat and slow and don't get up great.
Do you ever feel like a lot of these newer, especially the Bowers, seem like they're almost too cheap? Like they're so lightweight, they feel like they get worn down too easy. Like, because before you get these, play a ton of years instead of pads, but now it's like people play you one season, all of a sudden, they get pretty.
Yeah, to a point. And following lots of different gear people. Some of the guys that are playing, of course, I'm older, so I'm playing once a week. I know you're playing much more often. You see to get that in some areas, but others it holds up well. One of my favorite things with the Bowers window is just how it fires that puck off. It fires that rebound out so far.
So it gives me a chance to reset. So right now, I'm actually rocking a pair of Halak Vancouver pads.
Oh, I don't know.
I've been using those for 2 years. I got them right after he left Vancouver. I think that was the last time he actually played. I don't think he resigned anywhere after that.
Yeah, he was, I think, hoping for a comeback.
Yeah, that happened. But I've been using those, and his pads are more of a softer style, kind of heritage pad that he used, which I love them. They're great pads. Gloves are great, too, and everything.
Yeah, those designs were so cool.
I just can't get with the Bowers at all.
And I've always used Bauer only because I always got them from Mike, and they went from the hand cut leather and stuff, and now it's all the Digiprint, and they're the front end of that. And I will say, depending again on the line, I have two S Pros is actually the ones I'm wearing, and I also have the 1S is just in the difference there. And there's a few things you notice in areas that, yeah, they could do better. But if it's pro padding, they know the players are getting 4 to 6 sets of seasons.
Right. I mean, how many pairs do you see these guys work out of here and you see to go to auction?
Yeah. If I was buying a set from Bauer directly and it wasn't lasting me a year, I'd be pretty upset that I had the Hyperlight gloves that Bauer did for Mike for Vegas, is he would fill in for them as those things are they're light but they're tanks. I mean they're so mobile but just amazing. But be able to put on the older gloves and see the transition and see how they feel to the newer stuff of how they catch or just how the construction. So
I don't know how much you watch like NHL Network and stuff. A lot of times they'll kind of break down stuff. And one of the things they're talking about is the evolution of the glove. Is like how the goalies catch the glove. He goes, most goalies these days don't actually catch a glove. They use like more of a practice palm style. So if anything, they'll do a twist and try to catch it. So that's why they see a lot more rebound stuff pop out because they don't feel the puck like they used to. And I thought it was a great breakdown the way they described that, how we didn't think about it, but the way they don't actually catch it, they kind of try to swoop it with their hand. Like that.
And see, I'd still play it the more of the catch it style. But you're right.
That's why always if they don't feel the puck anymore. So
it makes sense.
Part of the evolution of the glove. They said they use them in practice, the practice palms, and they like not feeling the puck, and that's kind of where it is now.
It's just crazy to watch. How many years have you been playing goal now?
20 years.
So I'm pretty close to the same. So we can compare the evolution of even how we played and how the gear feels and how we feel the puck less get hit with it.
Yeah, I mean, my first pads were a full set of Cohos, the Patrick Wall style at 590 or whatever it was. And those were like very soft 12-inch wide pillow style pads.
Could you imagine going back to playing in those right now?
I could not.
I actually want to do that one night is get the old Bowers out, gloves and all, and see just how it but also having to adapt play style because they're not used to dropping down butterfly, and
there was no padding in those, like on the knees. You go flat. That will take you from the ice or anything in there because it was made for like a butterfly style like that, where there was much padding there. You're definitely you're beat up.
Very much so. Thank God I have mid knee guards, but yeah, it's crazy to look at how far even the sticks, how much lighter they've got, how much better they hold up. Most
I love the Kapata sticks. They seem to last a lot longer. A lot of them, they're like almost made of like a fiber, something else. Like they would just chip and just like break apart. Really think a fiberglass. Like they wouldn't last. But these composite sticks, they seem to take a beating.
Yeah, and unless you're
You don't even see a ton break in the NHL or things like that unless somebody smashes them over the crossbar.
Right.
But it's for us beer league guys, it's nice to have such light gear and see that technology change. The helmets too. You know, you used to weigh so much, and now it's almost like putting a hat on.
Right, they're so lightweight on them and enjoy it all the time.
But when you take a buck to them, yeah, you might get a little bit of a noise or whatever, but it's not the ringing in your ears now.
It depends on what condition.
Well, to a point, yes.
So the head, holy, if you're going to do that thing, will be ringing your ears with this.
But I use, I'm in a sport mask with my bat. I have the same model. I had two of them.
Okay. Is you got the one, it's the Gearhead collection. Yes. Yep. If I remember, you have the Porsche beat, the baby blue Porsche. Yeah. I ended up with the black Cadillac one and an orange BMW.
And those things are tanks.
They're fantastic.
I love the mask, and
Sport Mask does a great job. All their masks are all custom made. There's not like a single thing. Like each one is made individually. You don't have, they're not mass produced.
I was so excited to get those. And initially, when I skated out, I wore that blue color and then sent it off and got Brodeurs painters permission to vinyl it in the Brodeur blues design. So, and even, I guess even that technology's changed, going from sending off to be painted and it would take a month sometimes or more to get it back. And now you send it to a vinyl guy and they turn around in 5 to 7 days.
Right. You get it.
And it holds up sometimes even better than a paint job to do.
Right. And then it's cheaper too. And you obviously, if you want to change your style or design, just tear it off and put a new one on.
And it's a little sad on the NHL side because a lot of players are going that way because they know, okay, half into the season, if I want to change the design, I'll send my backup off, get it done, and get the other one done. So you don't have as much of the painting happening, but you can also turn it around so much quicker and see cool designs.
Right. It's always funny, like when you see a goalie trade and they're like mid-season or with a trade deadline, they go to a new team and they have like a white mask with like a little sticker, the team logo on it.
And then a couple days later, then they're in the mask they need to be in.
But they're still rocking, their old pads and stuff. I remember the year the Blues won the Cup, Chad Johnson was Blues goalie. When he went to Anaheim, they took a marker over one of the pads and colored it in with a fucking black Sharpie. Just to get rid of that color out.
Well, in the case of
blue, so they the yellow, but made the full.
Oh yeah, and in the case of Mike's pads, when he was he went 3 teams in 5 days, where he started with Ottawa, went to Vancouver, and then went to Philly. And when he got to Philly initially, they did so it's all the whatever the color, different color, throughout the whole thing, and it's everywhere. It's funny though because when I got those, it added a shit ton of weight to them because the blocker, the glove, and the pads are covered it. But it got him through till he finally just got a white set to finish up the year.
Right. Yes,
a custom set, but didn't make it to him by the time the season ended.
Right. I mean, you see a lot of goalies that use paragraph and stuff.
Yeah, it's easy. But I don't think I've ever seen that amount of pads. But it's just that crazy technology and how far it goes. And I've had the goalie gear nerd on before talking about the cutting edge technology stuff, and it is all of us that have been around a while just to see that transition and what that equipment looks like and what the technology going forward will be.
Who knows? Obviously, everything's going to be lighter, faster than the previous post. So we'll see what
and you'll fool the buck less.
I mean, think about skates. I'm still using the traditional 2-piece goalie skate with Cali. Those are 20 years old. I love a Phil. But you have goalies now using it's almost like a player style 1-piece skate from True and Step. And
I started in what you have. I had those for a long time. I actually got I had the pumps for a little bit, which were kind of nice. If they felt loose, just pump them
about the new ones. They're almost like a roller hockey, not even roller hockey, a roller skate. Yep. Where you had like the quick release plastic buckle strap.
Funny you mentioned that because that's actually what I'm in now. Is the Connect? I'm in the Connect 1s. The Connect 2s are out, but they look like a CE boot because of that hinge, and then it's 2 buckles, one at the bottom. And once you adjust those buckles the way you want, get them clipped in. I've not had a single issue. I've taken pucks off the toes, the whole bit, and get them dialed in. They're perfect.
I don't know. I like mine. Like I said, I've worn them in. It feels like putting on a nice pair of shoes. So they're comfortable. They're soft.
You know what? It's the same way with these. It's like a pair of slippers. You throw them on, quit your suckers and put your pads on and you're out there. It's also nice at the end of the night when you're tired, you just have to pop 2 clips and you're out of us too. But I think you'll start seeing those as long as you can keep. If you get hit with a puck, it doesn't fire off your clips or anything. I could eventually see that fire through. There's only a handful of goalies though that are actually wearing those. You sharing it there? I'll have to go look. Gear Geek, because as far as I go for that, is I have to send a couple. Yeah, that will be wearing it. Well, and I told the story before on that when I met with the goalie gear nerd. He was at Fowler's headquarters doing some stuff with them, meeting whatever, and they were giving a tour of the first floor, and the Tampa Bay goalie, all of a sudden I'm blanking on his name. Yes, he showed up with his little entourage and said, I want to tour the whole building. Like, well, we can't take you up on the second floor of R&D. He's like, I don't repair. They finally took him up there, and the goalie gear nerd got to go along because he was with them. And it was the early designs of those skates. They were probably 5 to 7 years out before they ever get a triumph. He said, I want them now. So they fast-tracked and got him to him by the next season. So that's why they it out. But, yep. So he was one of the first guys, saw him in there, and said, I want these. I mean, he's not a crappy goalie, so they're doing something for him. Yep.
Well, Floyd looks like he's getting a little bored here, so I'm going to hand it off, and he looks like he wants to jump in off the
and see, that's the thing with me. I can talk gear stuff, or I can talk collecting, and same with you, as you have an area in both. Yeah, this will wait up from it.
Yeah, I was enjoying listening to you guys. You guys were having fun. It's always fun to see people hit past it. It's under. What's that? Yeah, no, I woke up early today, so yeah.
Hey, he had a late night of recording with us, and then had to work early.
Before we're moving chairs or on,
have more room to eat before you.
Man, okay. So
musical chairs around their place, but it's just fun to hang out.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap this one up. We'll start another segment in a little bit. Yeah. Shoot the boys.
See, maybe interview a couple random people because none of the people that don't know the podcast of this are wondering what the hell we're
gonna go do Man on the Street. I was somebody with the microphone.
But no, we'll give you some more details, and then once we're all done, the sale, I'll probably do a quick wrap up once I get home and get it all published. But what's our current countdown here?
We're an hour and a half.
There we go. It's moved. It's actually been moving quick and beautiful weather. So, yep, we'll get some interviews and stuff. Be back here in a minute.
Wow, I'm tired. I got home at 8:30. I got to the rink at 10:30 to wait. You made it at 2:00, just after 2:00.
I was late.
Hey, you know what? You had work. I had taken a whole day off. All good. And Jasper joining the podcast tonight as well. I know he's missed you today. He's looking for attention, but
yeah, he missed his dad.
Yes, but the equipment sale for the season ticket holders is over. As we're recording this on Friday night, right after the general public gets in tomorrow. The wait was fun. You guys heard the other part of the recording with me, Wade, and Matt joining us a little bit, talk about. And I know we talked a lot of gear stuff and other things, but that is fun to talk about as well. But yeah, so we got in there, and what was it? It was actually, you had not even been there yet. The Blues, we always make fun of this. The Blues always put their video out, and I think we talked about a little bit of this in the earlier piece of the recording on site. But we dissected it down. The biggest thing, the hardest thing in that video is that one, it threw me off because it didn't click with me which way they went. Because when we started we get in, we start walking, and it's flipped from the way the video was. They actually shot it from where the registers were going that way. So it threw us off to where to find things. But that was fine. So we get in there. There was a ton of sticks, goalie sticks, player sticks. I mean, just a crazy amount of those. One of the things that really shocked us, and we'll get into this at the end of this segment before we wrap this up, is they had older training camp jerseys. As if you're watching this on video, you can see in the background, Wade hung up a couple of purchases, and those were $50. And for $125, they had Fanatics practice jerseys in every color.
Yeah,
I will
lots of them.
say, I did pick one up in the lighter, not like a powder blue, but like a in between
Navy
royal blue. Yeah, medium blue. I had forgotten, and we covered this at length when they came out, but I completely forgotten that the whole front logo is sewed on, and it is nice.
Yeah.
And the two color shoulder caps really do pop seeing these in person. So happy to have that. I'll use it when I skate out, stuff like that. Pricing, and we'll make sure I'll link up, get all the pictures uploaded online. The pricing was very reasonable. Player pants were $75. Player gloves were $100 for if they had a green zip tie holding together, or $150 if they had a red. I bought a pair of the 150 ones. I wanted to get the Winter Classic style, and did pick up a pair of those. Helmets, which they had more, but and again, I will never knock this because it's just how all the teams do it. Is the employees get in ahead of time to buy stuff, and where we were waiting, a lot of them were coming out the door, and we saw helmets leaving with people then.
Yeah. I would say, no, go ahead.
By the time we got in, there was only 6 or 7 on the table.
And I would say we probably saw the same amount leave before.
Yeah.
And in the same sense, and then not everybody came in and out of that door. So, I mean, yeah, there's probably, my guess is probably it started with 15 or 20 helmets. And by the time the doors opened, there was 7 or 8, right?
I was happy to pick one up. I'm hunting for, and if anybody else has ties to teams, I like getting other teams' ones too, as I love the CCM TAC-X helmets. And there was a couple players that did wear those, that they had them for sale. So I picked one up in the heritage style. It looks nice. I know it wasn't worn, unless it was worn for something else or it carried over. It was Mackenzie McEachran. He was never called up this year, but it's a beautiful helmet. Player socks were $15. They had both the Adidas and the Fanatic style ones. So I did pick up a pair of the Winter Classic Fanatic style. So I'm curious to see how those, I need to compare them to Adidas and see if any of the material changed in that. They had a good amount of goalie gloves and blockers that were $250 a piece. I believe I missed those signs, I think, when I was taking pictures.
I think the leg pad, the pads were $500.
Yes.
And I think blockers and catchers were $250.
And they had what, at least 5 to 6 sets of pads, if I remember right, and about 12 blockers and catch gloves.
I would say the one thing that I did take from this year was quantity wise on that stuff, like skates especially. There was a lot more skates, a lot more of everything. So they did, like, there was more equipment stuff this year than we've seen in the last couple years. If that makes any sense, right?
Yeah, skates went for $300, and again,
they had a bunch. Like in the past, they haven't had that many, I don't think.
No, it was about half, and in a few cases, by the time I picked up the stuff that I wanted to get, that I was after, time I got back over there, they were gone. But in a few cases, they actually had brand new skates in the box.
Yeah.
I don't know what size they were, what players they were supposed to go to, but all the skates were $300. And as somebody that does play, that's still one hell of a deal.
Those are $1,000, $1,200 skates.
Yep, and they lay out, and like I said, once we put the picture up, you'll be able to see them. They put a big section of carpet up and put chairs so you can sit down, try them all on. There was a lot of people doing that of all ages, which I thought was really cool. Player sticks, they had both brand new and used sticks, all 125. Didn't matter if it was goalie or player. I know one of the people that were hanging out with us early on before we got in actually found 2 2022 Winter Classic sticks.
Yeah.
Which were really beautiful to see. So just some of those things that, again, you're like, it's been 3 years. Why were those hanging around? Because those were also players that hadn't been around for a bit.
Yeah, there were some of the names we saw on some of the sticks. There was a Barrett Jackman stick, I think we saw come out of there, and some other stuff that was kind of wild. I really liked what they did with the sticks this year, because they had one section of the used ones and then an entirely another section of the the unused, untaped ones.
And I was very surprised, one, with the volume, and two, even like I said, I didn't leave out to check out till about 20 after 6, almost really closer to 6:30. And the volume of sticks that were there, both used and new, were still really high. Most of them were left-handed because they don't have a lot of right-handed players. But I was surprised. Usually, you see those wiped out pretty fast.
Yeah, it was
nothing other than really the helmets was I think the only thing of that, and goalie pads, which I know they keep some back, so there'll be some tomorrow for that sale. Even there were goalie gloves left. There were 4 goalie gloves left when I walked before I did one final lap before I checked out, which I was also shocked about.
That just shows the quantity they have, because that's unusual. Like usually the skates are like long gone right off the bat, and there were still some people trying on skates when we left. So I mean, here at the end of the day, like hats off to the Blues this year on quantity of the game used. The one thing I can tell you, like I usually pick up some apparel, and that was the one section that I thought was actually lacking this year.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a lot of like apparel. It seemed like the stuff they had, there's a lot of women's stuff.
Or much smaller sizes. You couldn't find much XL, 2XL, stuff like that.
The way they set up the apparel was weird this year too, because they like kind of wrapped it around that one bar area, and it just like it seemed like it was very crowded. And I didn't get any apparel this year, which is rare.
Yeah, I kind of looked through and it was hard. But even still, last year, I remember seeing stuff last year that they had out again, which was a little bit surprising.
A lot of hats.
Yeah. For $10, if you needed hats, that was a great deal because some of them are really nice looking.
Yeah.
But
they had the other thing I noticed is a lot of player jerseys, great price, $99.
Yeah.
For player jerseys.
They were all the Indo Edge ones you'd be buying out of the team store, and they had some mark that were like the pro stitching, and then others were more like the iron-on type. Both were flying off the racks pretty good.
I guess it's pretty telling. I guess they're not expecting Torrey Krug back because it's usually like players that are gone. So there was like Sammy Blais, Kapanen. But I was laughing because I saw a bunch of Torrey Krug, and I go, well, I guess they've decided he is definitely not coming back.
Yeah. Writing's on the wall.
Yeah. So that was it was a really, really well put together event as usual.
The pricing was very fair. Nameplates, which are always a popular one. You were over there fairly early. I know there were a lot of good ones. $5 a piece.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a cheap, cool collectible.
Yeah, the only thing with the nameplates this year is if you remember last year, and I think the year before that, in the nameplates, there was a little bit more star power in there, and there were some more like better names. This was the nameplates this year were primarily prospects, and a lot like there weren't. You could find a Bennington or a Thomas or a Kyrou last year, a one-off one. This year, we got over there pretty quick, and I really didn't see those guys. So unless somebody really got there early, or somebody picked them over before we got in. But there was a great quantity of them and a ton of prospects and a lot of different styles. So it was well done, a well done table there. I mean, everything was really good. And again, the quantity to me was the thing that I took away from it that I was most impressed with. Is there was plenty of everything. And I got to stick my head behind the curtain, and they did have refill stuff for tomorrow, ads and stuff. Cause I joked, I said, "Oh, can I look through that stuff?" And they kind of laughed, but I did. I kind of looked I looked in Oz's corner, and I did see that they have reserves for anybody who listens to this and is going on Saturday. You should not be disappointed.
Yeah, and I had several people reach out. Hey, you going again tomorrow? I'm like, no, it's an hour and a half drive, and 2, I'm broke. So I again apologize to you for being a little later than anticipated. A couple people were like, "Oh, are you going back?" And it's like, man, no. Like as much as I want to, like just get myself up and to do it again. And plus, I work on Saturdays. Yeah, so, no, I mean that's how it is. But going
there's nothing
back,
I'm dying for, right? I mean, like even if they restack a couple of things, like I got plenty of everything I wanted. And I had a blast doing it. So
yeah, I ran into several people. I couldn't tell you last time I've seen that I know are big Blues fans or other things that I'm friends with, and it was neat to see them and stop and people that we were in line with early on or waited several hours with. Hey, what'd you find? And did you see this? Or just that, even the excitement after we're all in and scattered, running back into people and just sharing what you found and stuff. And I've had a lot of people message me tonight, knowing that I went, asking how it was and what I got. And probably you're the same way.
Yeah.
Even Rory down in New Zealand message, hey, how'd it go? And I sent him some pictures, and he's like, man, had I known they had the training camp for $50, I'd have had you pick me up one. Just to send to New Zealand. The shipping is more expensive than buying the jersey from the team.
So,
but you may have made a discovery, have a theory, and a very interesting observation. So let's get into that so you can go eat your dinner at quarter after 10 when we're recording this.
Yeah, no. So a couple things I took. There was a ton of pants and current pants, blue pants, the navy ones they wear. And as everybody knows, there was the logo drop, and there's a lot of speculation that they're redesigning the logo. From everybody from the Blues, we've gotten no tip-offs on this and really no help on it. If it is happening, it's very closed mouth. But as you and I were talking and discussing, I noticed that there were unpacked and unused regular game pants with the standard Blues logo on them. And the thing that really tipped it off was when we got to the racks of the practice jerseys and the training camp jerseys was, as I said to you, why are they getting rid of all these Fanatics practice jerseys? They're only a year old.
And a lot were 2 full Z racks full.
Absolutely. And all the colors. So you had the, no contact ones, you had everything, right? And
I will say for people that haven't listened or pay attention to past years when we've covered the sales, is even when Adidas was fairly new, you might see 3 or 4 or 5 of those randomly show up at the equipment sale for one reason or another. But we had never, ever seen the volume of those show up, especially after the first year of use. And the one I have still has the tag from Fanatics, and I'll show it here in the camera, but has that tag on the jersey. So they never even put this on.
Yeah, with the Adidas ones, for the first couple of years, we had never even seen the Adidas ones, right? Because they recycle them and they reuse them and they stay. So
yeah, they're just practice jerseys. They're not getting demolished.
No. So my theory is, based upon what we saw with the pants and even the socks, I'm going to throw that out there. Seeing the Fanatic socks, new Fanatic socks in that colorway, seeing the pants, which are the game pants that they're currently wearing, and then seeing all those practice jerseys, which the Blues traditionally don't turn over that quickly, leads me to believe that we are going to have, at minimum, a logo change. But as I talked to a couple people, if they're going to do the logo, they're going to redesign the equipment, right? They're going to do a jersey change as well. So I almost feel like those were tip-offs. So I'm willing, and as you said, me and you were willing to say that I felt like indirectly they may have tipped it off a little bit, that we're going to see something fresh next year, just because of some of the stuff they were getting rid of wouldn't make sense to get rid of unless that logo was obsolete.
No, because again, those Z-Racks are what, 6 feet, 7 feet long?
No,
and they were packed to the gills. The one I picked up, just grabbed because I like the color, and was a 58, but I went through there. They had the dark ones and confirmed they were goalie cut, which are
rare.
Those are very rare and hard to come by. But 2 full racks of those, like you said, we've only completed the first year. Some teams, you don't see them sell for 5 years plus because they're just not getting beat up.
So
other than the goalie ones.
Like if you remember correctly, when we switched to Adidas that year, they had a bunch of the Reebok ones and a bunch of random Reebok ones that they had forever, even going back to Edge style ones, which we had. Like they kind of all came out whenever they switched to Adidas, and then the Adidas ones, the first couple years that we were in Adidas, you really didn't see them, right? Because we had to kind of like always beg them, like, hey, we'd love to get those training camp jerseys, especially once they went to Fanatics. So for them to have and be moving that quantity, and they were a mixture of new and worn, there's no reason they wouldn't have kept those to wear next season unless they're changing something.
Because they're not numbered, they're not assigned to individual players. It's like every other team does in most cases.
I'm willing to speculate that we are going to see something change. The pants also gave it away too, because like they wear the same pants. They've worn the same style blue pants for 10 years.
Yeah, the solid navy with the blue note on the
blue note
one leg.
Besides the manufacturer being CCM or Bauer, or whichever one the player tends to wear or has their deal with, those haven't changed. So for them to be getting rid of those, even in quantity, and then also unused ones, would lead me to believe that they were clearing out space for something. So,
I think time will tell, and I think it's actually going to tell fairly quickly.
Yeah, we could look like total assholes in 3 months, or maybe this is the tip off that something is coming. So
yeah, and again, this is speculation, no insider information. No, I wish we had that, but we don't. But it's just it's a glaring what the hell. This doesn't make sense, and we had staked out a spot basically across from them. Wade, myself, and one other collector kind of set our stuff down to catch a break, go through what we had. You went off to look at things, so I was babysitting your stuff and all that. And Tyler came by. I was like, "Hey, it's so awesome to see these." He's like, "Yeah, we just happened to get them in." It didn't click with me at the time, but then after we had our conversation later, I'm like, "Huh, yeah, that is quite interesting."
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd that they have them. It's odd that because it's an odd thing, and maybe it's nothing, or maybe it's a really kind of an early catch on our part. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I can't see them changing. I talked to another collector tonight before we came on this, and as I said, I can't see them changing just the logo and then leaving the jersey design the same. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to put in the time to redesign the logo, you're going to do something to tweak the jersey design as well. And if you think about it, since they went out of the Edge Reebok jerseys and went to the style that ended with Reebok and then went into Adidas and now has gone into Fanatics, our home and road jerseys beyond manufacturer haven't changed in 10 plus years.
Yeah. It's due.
We're overdue for some kind of adjustment. I mean, heck, there's teams in our league that have changed every 3 years, and we're 10 plus years into this same style way. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what changes coming into the season.
Yeah, we will, as we see things, hear things. I know Jersey Watch and Unit Watch and guys like that keep a close eye on that. So if we see stuff coming out from them or other rumors start to hit or whatever, we'll put it out there. But no, it was a great catch, and I'm definitely excited to Owen because, like I said too, it's been such a long time since the whole front of the jersey's been stitched on.
Yeah,
I mean the Adidas ones were fine, but as you start the teams blow through them. But like as myself, I use them for playing goalie and that. For a while, you wash them, some of that vinyl starts to peel, things like that. This won't do it.
They're beautiful. They are.
Yeah, they are very sharp looking. I was very happy to pick one up, and even at $125, I think it's a very good deal. But yeah, we'll keep everybody up to date. I hope you enjoyed this. I would say thrown together one, but hopefully the audio from being we're off a stairwell, an enclosed entryway for the Blues, and other people were talking in the background and echoes. So hopefully the audio quality was that okay, and you guys enjoyed Matt and I's discussion and Wade's discussion. So just kind of a fun thing. I would love to try and do more of that where we can be out in the field more, doing some of that stuff as I play with these things and can tweak it. It definitely only makes our podcast better, and it can get it into more places. So
yeah, it was fun, and thanks to you for putting it together to bring it down. And thanks for the Dr. Pepper today.
Of course, had to set you up.
Oh yeah, it was nice.
And it was funny though, because I use like a camera type bag to bring out my portable recorder. I actually had 2 handheld mics and my headphones, so I could make sure the audio quality was decent. And there's other people there that we don't know. There's a couple kids with their parents that play hockey, just giving us the weirdest looks as we're talking.
We're with microphones. Like it was like man on the street. I said it earlier. It was like kind of funny because like people were looking at us, like people were walking up as we were recording, and they're looking at us like, "What are these guys doing?" I thought it was great.
It'd only been better if I knew there was nothing I needed in the sale. I could have had that recorder with one of the mics just walking around talking to people.
It's pretty funny.
I don't know what the Blues would have thought of that, but I'd have had fun with it. But
no, it was neat. It was neat to do it, and it was nice to see a lot of people as always. And I'm really proud of everyone. There were no runners this year,
right?
So
they're always yelling, "Hey, slow down, walk!" And you're fast walking for sure. But it was nice to catch up with Nick and Tyler both while we were there. They were doing tons of laps.
Incredible job as always, along with everybody else that works there. And it was a really, really good event this year. And I, excited to see and hear what people get tomorrow as well. And can't wait for finding out what about these jerseys down the road.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see you guys back on Thursday for another regular weekly show. I'm glad we were able to throw this extra one in, and I hope you enjoyed the one asking about set stamps. I did actually get a couple messages back. Dan Day sent me a text while we were waiting in line today, letting me know he had listened, and the Nailers, they did a set tag in their jerseys this year. He's checking to see if the Admirals did last year.
Nice.
That does seem to happen or kind of vary around. So, but again, thank you for hanging with us. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we gave you a little good atmosphere of actually waiting at an equipment sale. Maybe try and get into some other ones semi-locally and do the same thing. But Wade, you go eat your dinner at 10:30 at night. Hopefully you get some rest, and I know I'm going to pass out.
Thanks for making us front of the line as usual. Appreciate that, and we'll talk to you. Man, we're gonna be together a lot this. Another show coming up really quick. So
yep, we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about there, and then count down, because heck, we'll be in June. Talk about the Stanley Cup Finals and some of the Oilers put some of their jerseys up. Talk about pricing and others probably this coming week, along with other fun stuff. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Give us a like, subscribe. Make sure you go sign up for the forums as well. All of those things. And if you want to come on or you have a topic for us, reach out to Wade, myself, or Paul Rank. We'll see you on Thursday.